Hello, welcome. I'm Krakenfall, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we are building a PC. Not quite, actually. It's not a full PC build. I'm just upgrading a few parts. Mostly a new CPU, a new motherboard because it's a new architecture, and then new RAM. So that's all I need, actually. But that pretty much requires me to swap out all the components and move them over to the new motherboard. So it might as well be a new PC build. I just haven't bought all of the pieces. I figured while I'm doing that, I might as well pick up a new case because I have not had a new case in a long time. It's been like 10 years, I'll just say it. I haven't had a new case in like 10 years. And I figured why not go with something fancy, something that actually, you know, I can see my components. So let's get started. I don't actually know if there's going to be any format to this. I think I'm just going to explain like the high level of what I'm doing, and then we'll just get started because I don't think I've planned any farther than that. So first things first, I have an old PC build that I've actually been running for a very long time. If you are a PC builder yourself, you may be shocked to know my Windows installation has been around since 2011. I know that might be shocking, but every time I have a problem with my PC and I go to a forum and they're like, just reinstall Windows, like you're dumb if you don't reinstall Windows. I'm like, that is the nuclear option. You should not have to do that for every issue. But sometimes it's warranted. I have not had to, thankfully. So that PC build is pretty new. It's got a 5900X AMD Ryzen 9 CPU, 32 gigs of RAM, and a NVIDIA RTX 4090. It's pretty beefy. So we'll unbox the case, we'll unbox the new hardware, and then I think I'll go through my old build. I need to bring it up here, I need to take out some components, and then I can begin putting all the components in a new case. And then on the way I'll talk about why I made some of the decisions I made, and I think I've got everything. I think we're ready. I'm looking forward to it. First things first, I'm going to unbox the new case, which is a Lian Li Cool 3. I have been getting most of my research from Gamers Nexus, which is a channel I found in the last year. I just finally started watching it regularly, and they are amazing. They take an empirical approach to hardware testing that I really love. They collect empirical data rather than just kind of like running a couple tests and being like, oh, it's good or it's bad. They actually like try and prove what's going on. But they do case reviews, and the Lian Li cases were highly regarded by them, so I looked into that. Now, there's one thing that I've been kind of a snob about for a long time, which is RGB. I wasn't really a snob, I just decided that I didn't like it, which is silly because, like, who cares? I think it actually was, it had to do with me having my PC in the same room that I slept. And so I didn't want any RGB, like, I didn't want light in my eyes when I'm trying to sleep. But now I'm like, why do I care so much? Okay, so I do have a window, and we have a full array of coolers on the front. These are what, 140 millimeter fans? It looks pretty good. Pull the front handle. Oh, okay. This little flap here, so you pull it forward and it pops open the hinge. So it's got a hinge. That's really cool. It's actually really spacious, what I'm pretty happy about. We've got a grill for cable management and the power supply underneath, which I'm gonna need because my power supply is pretty big. And you can just pull this open to access cable management, and I'm thinking these are hard drive based. Before I move on to the motherboard, these are some of the case accessories. Nice. I love this. I am so sick and tired of like power supplies that give you a bunch of cables and shit that you can't organize them, and so I have to figure out an organization method of my own, which I never do. So when they give me a neat little case like this, I love it. I've actually been sitting on this whole build for months, actually probably a year now. When the 7000 series came out, I guess it was like January, wasn't it? And I realized I'd have to upgrade everything. I've been deciding whether or not I wanted to do this build. We have what I need, I think. We've got two 16X PCIe slots, which I need. I need two, and I need at least one PCIe 4X slot. I also need at least 3 NVMe slots, which I think there's one here. And I guess under these two heat sinks, these two. I don't know what this is though. Nice, lots of lots of USB 3.1 or higher, which is what I need. And I don't really use onboard video, but it is handy to have. And same with Wi-Fi. I don't really use Wi-Fi, but if I need it, I have it. The main reason I wanted to, or justified this upgrade, is because I need to upgrade my streaming PC. My streaming PC is running i7 9700K. And with what I'd like to do some automated editing on it, and that requires some machine learning, some rendering, like video rendering. And so I would like something with a better CPU so that it's not as CPU limited. So I'm going to take all the components from my main PC and put it in my stream PC. And then maybe I can even increase my stream quality a little bit. So I will go over the RAM, which is DDR5, and it's actually going to be 48 gigabytes, which sounds wrong. It's only 2 modules of 48 gigabytes, and they're 24 gigabyte sticks, which I'd never heard of, but apparently is a thing with DDR5. The CPU upgrade is a Ryzen, drumroll, there, 7950X, which I'm excited about because this is the top end of the consumer PC, or consumer CPUs. I wasn't planning to get that high of specs, but there was a sale. And it was cheaper than the 900X, which is what I was planning to get. So with that, let's bring out my old PC and start taking it apart. I have S-video cables in case I need them. So do I. I have serial port cables as well. I could build an old 2001 PC if I wanted to. I've got a motherboard from 2002 in a case from 2002 rendered under my piano. We need to see those old school ribbons. I found one of my old hard drives. It's got an ATA port. There you go. It's got an ATA port with Molex power connectors, which you still find in adapters in power supplies nowadays, but I kept it around because I don't know what's on this. Like it's 300 gigs, which is probably 2008. It might be my first college hard drive, so I'm keeping it around. I need to find an adapter so I can actually access it. Okay. Okay, this is heavier. There's a solid mat of cat fur. I'm not that bad, but yeah. Here's my current build. It's kind of a Frankenstein. You can see an RMX 1000, so I actually need 1000 watts. That's the power supply I had to get. I need to take out everything except the CPU and the motherboard. I can leave those in for now, but I do need the CPU cooler. I've got a water cooler, Corsair H100i. I did overclock for a while. I haven't done it with this CPU specifically, but it's like a really easy entry into overclock cooling. And it's quiet. It's quieter because you don't have to run the fans as high. So the only thing that sounds like a jet engine in this build is the GPU, which is the 4090. I was very thankful to get this at MSRP when it came out. And this is the famous, I forget what it's called. It's the connector that was burning on the 4090s when it first came out. Now I did have to do some jury rigging to keep this GPU from hitting the hard drive bay over here. There's actually a fan right here that it doesn't actually clear the hard drive bay, so I had to like jack it up. And I hope it hasn't bent the PCIe slot, who knows. Okay, so what should I do first? I think what I'm gonna do first is show you hops. Okay. There we go. Look at this monster. This like barely fits in my case. Like it only barely fit when I put it in like that. It's nuts. I plan on having this for like the next 5 years, so here's hoping it fits in the new case. You don't actually need the static strap 100%. There is a risk of you frying your components if you don't do it though. There are a lot of components nowadays that are resistant to static, but it's not a good game to play, especially with RAM. Can you compare GPUs to hobs? I could, yeah. It's probably heavier than him too. So GPU out, that's good. Next thing I'm gonna take out is the SSD RAID array, which I actually think I might take apart for you guys to show you. If you don't know what RAID is, it's a nice way to visualize it. So this is a RAID module. It is the HyperX M2 Gen 4 card. It fits SSD, NVMe SSDs. Now there are heatsink pads on here, so I gotta be careful. You can see these are NVMe SSDs. They are cheap NVMe SSDs. They're 2 terabytes. They are Western Digital SN770s. Oh, they're 1 terabyte, 1 terabyte. So the whole RAID array consists of four SSDs. Normally you only just need 2. And what it does is it combines them into 1 hard drive so that you get double the speed. So it's really nice. I'm doing 2 RAID arrays, so I'm doing 2 together and then 2 as backup. And I do that so I don't lose my video projects. It's really nice. It's very fast. It's 10,000 megabytes per second. Oh, mods. Would anybody mind creating a poll for, if you use a mechanical keyboard, do you prefer clickety-clackety, soft tappities, or the hard tactile feeling? Loud or soft mechanical keyboard sounds? Pretty much with anything that has screws, and it's 2 surfaces that are going together, you don't want to screw one all the way down, you know, and then move on to the next one. You will have a situation where one side is like the right amount of tension. The other side will have the board kind of pushing up on it, and so it will create more tension on the last screw, and that will cause it to strip potentially. So it's always best practice to tighten things around. Actually, you're supposed to do it one on one side and then you swap and you go back and forth, but I'm doing it in a clockwise. I'm doing it clockwise because this is not really a tension board.
Loud click clack cloud keyboards have won the poll 5-4.
Loud click clack. Okay, that surprises me. I must be in the minority. I am a fan of quiet keyboards. I don't know why. Maybe okay, I think this is it. I don't like the feeling of inconveniencing other people. When I'm watching stuff on my phone, like Instagram Reels or TikToks or YouTube Shorts or whatever, I don't let it play out loud. Like, I feel like that's inconsiderate of the people around me. So if I'm click-clacketing, I feel like anybody in my vicinity is just gonna get drowned out by click-clacks. What do we got here? So how did I do last CPU install? So I did put a little bit too much Arctic Silver on this, but it was evenly distributed. Okay. Oh, I should have cleaned that a while ago. It's not the worst. Like, don't get me wrong. This could be way worse. Like, it could be all over caked. And if I just do that, like, it's not that bad, but it's enough. Okay, I think the next thing I need to do is take out the NVMe drives. This has also got a thermal strip on it. You can see how it's all deformed. Mostly from tension, but some thermal change. This is a P5 Plus Crucial SSD. It is, I think, a 2 terabyte. And I don't remember what this is, but I'm not going to open it up to find out. Okay, so we have a bunch of SSDs, a 2 terabyte Samsung 850 Pro, and then I have a backup drive, which is a 2 terabyte, oh no, it's a 3 terabyte hard drive, which I don't really use much, but I have it in case I need it. And then I have a Micron 2 terabyte drive, which is, I think this is my backup Steam drive. Let's clean the CPU cooler, both of the dust and the old thermal paste. We'll get it ready to apply new thermal paste and install the CPU. Then put the motherboard in, then install the cooler fan array. For the radiator fan array, I think what I'm gonna do is really quick, I'm gonna go downstairs with where my vacuum is and just quickly vacuum with the hose attachment. For the actual CPU heatsink, let's go ahead and get started on that. And all you need for that is some rubbing alcohol and a microfiber cloth. And you don't have to be really careful because it's microfiber. You shouldn't be scratching anything on the heatsink. You do not want to scratch the heatsink. It causes little like peaks and valleys in the heatsink contact, and it will reduce your surface area for heat sinking. And if you do that, then it is less efficient. I think that's all of it. Okay, now I'm gonna go vacuum the radiator really quick. It worked. Looks pretty freaking clean to me. It's pretty dang good compared to before. So that's good. We're pretty much ready to bring out the new motherboard. One thing you should always be careful to do, frickin' close your rubbing alcohol so you don't spill it all over the place. It's happened before. All right, so these are the 24 gigabyte DDR5 modules. They're 6400 megahertz speed, which is actually exactly, they might not be. I was gonna say exactly twice as fast as my DDR4 modules. This is the point at which I'm gonna wanna pull out the manual because there are preferred slots. You can do dual channel. I just don't know which pair. So when you're doing dual channel RAM, you need to put them in series. That's where the color differently. You see black, gray for these slots. You want to put them in the same color, your two RAM sticks, for them to be in series. I think there may be one set of these RAM slots that are preferred or have a higher bandwidth. And then if you do two sets of dual channel, then the bandwidth lowers so that they all match each other. So I'm gonna want to pull out the manual. Okay. It literally just has pictures. You put the RAM in the slot. You put the RAM in the slot and it's good. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna put it in the first slot channel, or the first pair. So in the black, I think. And if I research it later, I can always come back in and swap them. If you look, there is little slots right here where the corner is. Your RAM cannot fit unless it goes directly straight into that slot. This notch in the middle has to perfectly line up with that silver notch in the middle of the slot, or else it won't fit in. And so there's no way for you to screw it up, just as long as you don't force it. That is one rule in PC building, is never force it. And I keep on switching it down to the wrong spot because I'm second guessing myself. And all you gotta do is evenly press on both sides until you hear the click. Evenly press in until you hear the click. There we go. You see these tabs right here? See how these ones are open? Once the RAM goes in firmly, it will click in and it'll latch on the RAM, and then you're good and it's installed. And then with this one, I'll do it in the black colors slot so that they are in series. There we go. Hear the click, we're good. Now I am an offender of box keeping. I keep my boxes for way too long. I'm getting better at it. I probably don't need the RAM box for very long, but just in case I need to return it or it needs to go to the factory for a refurb or something, I keep it for a little while. So there's the RAM. What's next? We've got the CPU. Okay, so you have this little bracket here. It's a tensioner. It's a tensioning rod, and it holds the CPU in place. And right now there's no CPU. It's just this this black plastic slot. So let's grab that out of there. Be careful with this. This is the CPU slot, and there are a bunch of pin receivers in here. And if you've never seen a CPU before, this is the CPU. And if you look on the back, you can see, you know what? I think I was referring to Intel. Intel CPUs have the pins on the actual CPU, but it's reverse on AMD. They just have these receivers on the AMD CPU. They're just flat gold spots. The pins are on the motherboard themselves. So let's pick up the door. And with this, you gotta be careful so you don't bend the pins. You're always gonna find, both on Intel and AMD, you've got this little triangle right here. And there will be a triangle on your motherboard. I don't know if you can quite see that. That's the triangle you wanna match up the CPU triangle on. So I'm gonna put the triangle facing this corner. And so you come in straight, and you want to drop the CPU right in. You don't want to push down on it at all. You don't want to like push it to the sideways. You just kind of want to set it and nudge it left and right until it slots in, and then the triangles will match up. And I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little notch here that even proves on both sides that that is the right orientation for the CPU. Okay, so then you close the door, and you can see the tensioning rod will latch on right here to the door, and then it will secure the CPU in place. It actually does give a lot of resistance. You kind of have to really push it. So if you've never done it before, it's kind of a nerve-wracking process. But once the tensioning rod is in place, the CPU is held in, and we're all good. We're ready to install the CPU cooler itself. And for that, we need thermal compound. So the brace goes on the heatsink over like this. And you can see those little notches for you to twist. And then that allows you to tension the heatsink with the brackets. Just like this, we'll clip the bracket. I don't know if you can see that. There's little claws here. And then we'll do both sides and then screw it in to tension it. So let's get some thermal paste on this. This is a lens wipe. It's designed to leave no residue. Because it's for camera lenses, and if you have residue on camera lenses, then you will get artifacts in your picture. It's also got rubbing alcohol in it. So I should be good to use this to clean both the CPU and the heatsink. So I'm just going to do one last swab. I can use the wrapper to just do a test dab. Yep, that was a lot with just a little bit of pressure, so I'll have to be careful of that. There's also a chance that the end of the tube gets dried out, so it's good to do that. So I'm just going to do light bead, and I don't actually remember exactly how much is recommended to be using, but this is as much as I normally do. And I can spread it out to make sure it's uniform. Okay, that's probably going to be too much, but we should be good. So I am just gonna really quick unscrew the brackets. Can't really tell what I'm doing, but I'm basically taking this screw, making sure it's at the maximum before it unscrews itself. And same for the other side. And in fact, I'm not gonna care about the brackets for now. I'm just gonna center in on the CPU, make sure that I am in the center, and then I'm applying even pressure from the heatsink onto the CPU. Okay, so we are now under tension. I can kind of feel it sliding around, so I'm making sure not to move it too much. And I'm going to evenly screw them at the same time so that we're tensioning on all sides evenly. Okay, now it's fully tensioned, and our CPU cooler is installed, or heatsink is installed. I'd also like to do the NVMe drives. We have two that I'd like to install. One is kind of behind the cable, so you can't really see it. It's right here. In the past, I have done PC installs very kind of haphazardly, or how do I put it? Absent-mindedly. And so there was a time, I think several builds, where I would install the motherboard first, and then I would have to reach into the case to install everything else. It was very silly, and I do not recommend it. Okay, so we've got a thermal pad just like before, but it's got this adhesive cover on it, so we can pull off the cover before we install the heatsink. Something important to remember. Now this one has screws in the heatsink that are integrated, so you don't have to have a separate screw for the SSD itself. That's kind of nice. Now, in order to do this evenly, I'm going to stand up, make sure I get this zoned in correctly. I think I missed it. Oh, no, I didn't. Hell yeah. Now, one thing is, since I have heat sinks, this is a nice board. I don't actually need this extra heatsink, so let's uninstall this one. Oh, I think this is thermal padded on both sides, so I think I'm gonna have to do another pry method. I really don't like putting pressure on the board like that at all. This is annoying. I think I'll just use my hands so that it's even pressure. Yeah, there we go. Jeez. No, the pad broke. Frick. Well, I got the thermal pad for free. I think I'm just going to throw this heatsink away. It looks like the thermal pad broke up around the actual the memory module. so it's all caked up. So I'm just gonna peel it off and throw it away because that is junk. Let's get some rubbing alcohol and a microfiber cloth in here. Yeah, there's this FCC sticker with all of the regulatory information on it, and I guess that's where the memory module is, or the primary memory module. I mean, there's memory modules all over the place. There's one here, and I don't know if that's a controller or a memory module because it's a different pad than this one. But this one in particular got hot because it broke down and cracked. It's almost clean. I'm almost done. Now, if I were a good PC builder, I would be looking up the specs to see if the PCIe lanes are connected. And what I mean by that is sometimes your SATA lanes, right here and here, sometimes they're connected to the NVMe bandwidth lanes, PCIe lanes, which sucks. And it's really annoying. And in fact, now that I've thought about it and I care about I/O performance, I'm gonna look it up. M.2.2 slot shares bandwidth with SATA 6G 1 and 2. When M.2.2 runs at PCIe X4 mode, SATA 6G 1 and 2 will be disabled. And this is 1 and 2. So if I install my NVMe drive into M.2.2, which is the one I just opened, these will be disabled. So what I'm gonna do is install it in M.2.1 for now. One of the things I was worried about doing this stream, because I was thinking, when I got all my parts on Tuesday or Wednesday, should I actually stream this or should I just build it now? Because if I do it on stream, I might forget details. I might forget to do things. I might forget to be safe in this way or that way. But so far, it's pretty good. I think over-explaining everything I'm doing is helping. And then you guys can call me out if I do something stupid. I just realized I have some loose screws from this crappy heatsink that I'm gonna throw away. And I probably should throw away the screws too. My hoarding brain is like, keep them, they might be good for something. Come on, Kraken, they could be good for something. But they're not. So I'm just gonna stick them into the thermal pad and throw them away with it. Overhead, there we go. That's so cool. This little flap here. Oh, are you kidding me? Yes, okay, so this side, you've got a spring-loaded SSD. I guess which makes sense because there's no moving parts, so you don't have to worry about vibrations or anything from the spring. Ah, frick. Why isn't this going in? Maybe I should put them in on that side and then, yeah, there we go. That's nice. All right. Storage drives are now installed. Oh, hey! Whoa! I've never had a PC case that's this accessible. What the frick? I'm so happy. Let's just, yeah. Oh. Okay, so these are the case cables. I'll pull those out once I install the motherboard. Oh, this is, okay, this is for accessing the motherboard underneath. What are these oh my gosh. Can you see that? This is pre-installed Velcro for cable management. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Can I do the same here, or is this not something I open? Yes, it is. And this is for all the cable management. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it when it's convenient. Okay, that's pretty much good. Maybe a poll for if the computer will post or not. Honestly, it probably won't, because I will need to mess around the BIOS. I think I might even need to have to do a BIOS update, flash a new BIOS update, and then it'll support the CPU, and then I need to set the boot drive. Okay, so I don't have motherboard screws. The case comes with motherboard screws. You know, I did just say I should take these out because there are case screws in here. I haven't got a new case in over 10 years, all right? You expect me to believe the case comes with screws? Probably has HD screws as well. You're probably right. In fact, I'm looking at them right now. So we have these. It's got a weird spacer on it. I don't know what that is. Let's try it. If it fits, I screw, wait. I was trying to say if it fits, I sit, like, but an adaptation. Okay, before I continue, I think I would like to install the CPU cooler. The whole loop thing right here that I was talking about, like I don't want it to be to have too much like height difference. Like this probably would be optimal. We don't have any droop because you don't want head. Head is in physics, it is pressure from the height of your water, and so it basically wears down the pump faster. So I think this is what I want right here. What's the direction of these fans? I think they're pointing inward. That's how I'd installed it before. So I'm just gonna rely on the decisions of past Krakenfall. CPU air should always be as cold as possible, and so it should be pulling air rather than pushing out. Okay. All right. So like I was talking about, tensioning we need to do in some kind of alternating pattern so that we don't unnecessarily tension any screw and cause stripping, which you're probably not going to because these screws are not under any huge tension, but it's just a good pattern, a good habit. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a good habit to have. It's not often I get to poke someone else on blanking on simple words. Normally it's me slapping myself. That has been my life. My mom has called me a space cadet since I was like 5 because of it. Either I'm saying the words and jumbling syllables, or I'm just forgetting words entirely. It is frustrating though. Doing good, my boy. Thank you, Blue. We are making a lot of progress. This needs to come over to the motherboard somewhere. I don't exactly know where. USB only, so I need the manual for that. So before I start going and hooking things up, I need to get the case fan or the case connected to the motherboard, and I need to get the CPU fans connected to the motherboard, as well as the case fans. This is the nitty-gritty part that takes a lot of time and is annoying. Thankfully, they've given us some tools in this case to make things go faster. Underneath here, there's a bunch of cables. These all get connected to USB. We've got this is USB 3.2, I think, which is really nice because the motherboard supports it. Yeah, I've never seen that connector before. But it looks like it just takes header pins, so that should be fine. This is the USB. This is the front panel. So it looks like we've got a lot of case fan routing already. These are all kind of daisy chained together. I wonder if this actually just is one fan connection for everything. That's kind of nice. So I'm just gonna put these through as I identify them. This is for power. This is the case, the power button for the case. And these are all the things that I was talking about earlier. So let's just shove those through. Front panel, we have case fans. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about, those daisy chained. Can I get a focus on aisle 5? So we've got USB, we got front panel USB, we got audio, we got fans. Okay, this is not exactly clear on everything that needs to be connected because I see a lot more cables than what's listed in that page. So I think I'm gonna wing it. If there is a cable that is unaccounted for, I will try and account for it. So we've got USB 3.2, which is up here. I do this as a labor of love. I'm not doing this because I want to. I like the performance and power that you get with custom PCs. And price, right? I wouldn't say that I have any great love of trying to frickin' plug in USB headers. Okay, HD audio. Where are the audio headers? I'm guessing that's it right there. Speaking of cords being long enough, I think I can actually route that through the back. So I'm gonna pull it through the rubber there. There we go. I'll route that cable later. Hold on, Hobbs is trying to figure out logistics. Now you're interested. He's been sleeping in here for the past 3 hours, and now he's like, what are you doing up there? This is amazing. No. Okay. We have a visitor. An inspector. Okay. As he walks across literally everything. Okay, what was I doing? Power switch. A Q-tip adapter, that's exactly what I was just holding. You're talking about this, right? That's exactly what I was holding, and I was like, I think it's time to use this. That means we only have one possibility, and it's that. There we go. Next is speaker and power LED. So that's probably coming in action here in a moment. Yeah, the quick connector is amazing. I've never used one before, and I'm so happy that it exists. Okay, we are fast approaching the power supply installation, but first let's get USB connected. I've got USB for the AIO. AIO pump is up at the top above the DIMM slots. Luca jumped on the back side and closed the door. Get down, dude. I know. I love you too. Just get down. Now's not the time for head bumps. I mean, it's always the time for head bumps, but not right now. All right, so this mother fricker this is all the power for the 4090. It's nuts. It's the 12 volt high powered connector, and then we've got SATA. So I think I left the motherboard power cable in the other case, but that's fine because I have another one. Corsair cables are backwards compatible, so I didn't even open this. I just plugged it right into the new power supply. So this is what I need. Motherboard, two 8 pins. Yeah. 1, 2. Dang, this motherboard's power hungry. It needs a 24 pin and 2 8 pins. Wow. Nice. Oh, and there's even rubber feet for it. Oh, that fits like a glove. That's a problem. There's no clearance. Okay, well, let's unscrew the hard drive and see if it can come out. Hard drive, come out. No. There we go. Okay, we're good. Woo! So I'm actually not sure if I'm gonna be able to finish this. I know I'm very close, but I think I need to take a break and eat. So I think I'm actually, unfortunately, gonna have to stop here. All right, so this is Future Kraken, and I did finish the build. I had to finish it later that night on the day of that PC build stream, but it went well. I'd like to show you the cable management and everything else installed, like the graphics card installed and everything, because I did a lot offline. I didn't record it. I did forget to take off the film here, so why don't we do that? Try and make up for the cable management. Yeah, that was nice. I left off with the stream, started to install the power supply, and you can see that in here, and it's pretty bad. I didn't like route and like zip tie cables together. Maybe I'll do that later if it really bugs me. Comment down below if you think I should do more cable management. I did relatively keep it clean for all of the motherboard like connections. This is all the PC case cables, and we've got some power cables and I think some fan cables. Here's like the motherboard power. Oh, actually, no, that's the 12 volt high power connector cables for the graphics card. This is the giant motherboard cable, and I think there's 2 8 pins in there as well. So it's not the prettiest, but it's much more cable management than I've ever done, and I really appreciate this case and all of the Velcro straps and all that. So it's pretty cool. For the case running, it looks pretty cool. I haven't gone in and tried to modify the RGB lighting because I don't like the strobing effect, but it's also not something that bugs me too much. I am worried about this grill. This is air intake, so the fans are taking in air from the front. Hobs Luca, their hair is just airborne all the time. And it gets, their fur, I mean, and it gets on here. And I've actually had to do a little bit clean. You can see like just rubbing the grill like that. I've got fur. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. But otherwise it looks cool. The Corsair logo is upside down, unfortunately. I did have to go in because even though I looked in the manual and there was no indication of which DIMM series, the memory slot series, was the correct series, black was not it. I looked it up online and yeah, the gray slots were actually the priority slots, so I had to change them in order for them to work. So the computer did not post the first time because of RAM errors. I also found out that this pair of RAM works in the PC part picker compatibility checker, but it's not on the QVL, which is the compatibility list for the motherboard. So I may need to return this RAM. I cannot use XMP or DOCP, which is the AMD version. XMP and DOCP are like RAM tuning modes that let you turn on and overclock the memory to higher RAM frequencies or speeds, basically. Right now, I can only run my RAM at 5600 megahertz and not 6400, which is what the RAM is rated to. It should be 6400, but I have to turn on DOCP for that. It makes my system unstable. I get crashes and blue screens all the time. And since it's not on the QVL list, that's probably the reason why. I do have this monster GPU in here. It fits well, but it does have some sag. I'm not going to touch it because the computer's running. There's some PCIe sag, and it's causing the PCIe to bend a little bit, ever so slightly. It's probably not a problem. Just in case, I got this handy little support, and you can screw it in, screw it out, and I'm gonna set that up right here. I'm not gonna do it right now because the computer's running, but I'm going to be able to lift this up a little bit and release some of the pressure on the PCIe in the motherboard slot and the motherboard. Yeah, this build looks great. It's very clean. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the build. The case is nice, the speeds are nice, and I'm going to get a lot done with this build. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun to make, both the stream and just the process in general. So thank you for watching. You can check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Krakenfall, where I stream Thursdays, Fridays, and on the weekends if I can. Click like and subscribe because it helps me out, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.